Hey guys, Chris, aka Squire Tap, back again. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Normally, I do inexpensive gear that you can get great tones out of and demos and stuff like that. But today, we're going to have a little talk. You know what we're going to talk about? That. Yep. That's what we're going to talk about. How's that for an attention getter? But you know what? Nobody can really do anything to censor me because I'm handicapped. Yeah, check it out. Look, when my fingers bend, that middle finger, I got nothing. Look at that. Now, over the years, I have learned that I can take my other fingers, put it behind it, and fold it in. And let's face it, if you're going to walk around with your middle finger stuck up all day, probably not a bad idea to be able to make a fist. You know what I mean? So I'm sure you guys have noticed if you see me playing, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Sorry, no, sorry. It does. It really sticks out, and I've had to develop my own style over the years. I'll tell you what happened. So about 9 years ago, I this happened, and I spent about 15 to 20 years working in Nashville in the hotel business, right? So I'm putting up the breakfast one morning. I'm carrying a pitcher of orange juice. It's got condensation on the outside. It slips, falls into a sink, then it breaks and bounces back and just barely nicks that flexor tendon. Well, I went to the hospital. They bandaged me up. They treated me for a superficial cut and sent me home. Well, I noticed like a week goes by. I'm like, man, this finger's stiff, but I'm like, you know what? It's gonna be stiff. It's been bandaged for like a week solid and splinted, of course. So I get to, go in to get the stitches out. They take the stitches out, and it's still not bending. So the doctor comes in and he tells me, well, you cut your flexor tendon. You nicked your flexor tendon. And I was like, oh, great. How do we fix that? And he says, we don't. If you cut a tendon, you got about 24 hours. And if you don't reattach it in that time, it just kind of draws up. And that's that, man. So I was devastated. I was destroyed. I went home, and losing a finger and all sucks for everyday purposes, but I was a guitar player. I thought my life was over, man. I had played every single day of my life since I was 14 years old. I mean, I really rarely missed a day over, anything. And all of a sudden, I can't play anything anymore. And I mean, you want to talk about a dark time. That was a bad time for me, man. Like, I was mad at everybody. I was super bitter about everything. I couldn't help it, but I was upset. But I never could get my guts up enough to grab the guitar, case it, call it a day, and pack it up. So one day, something like particularly frustrating had happened. I saw somebody playing guitar or something like that. And so I was like, yep. And so I go grab my stuff to case it and put it up for that, for good. And I decided to play it one last time. And I wasn't, I wasn't completely incapacitated like I thought I would be. I dropped it down in D to kind of make it easy, and then that worked. So I came up to standard tuning. I'm like, well, here, let's see. And I made it most of the way through the solo in Santeria by Sublime. And I thought, man, maybe I'm not quite as screwed as I think I am. So I just started, thinking about different, how could I do this different? How would this work? What if I go from this string to this? And the other thing is, I was just me. I played guitar every day. Then I had that gift back, and man, I did not squander it at this point. Before I cut my finger, I was all right. I could play chords. I could fake some lead if I had to, but to be honest, I'm far, far better now, like after, than I ever was before the accident. It made me, kind of make my own style up too, which I think is pretty cool. I'm all for anything that's unique. But the thing is, I've thought about it, and if I could go back in time and change it, I really don't think I would. I, I'm totally happy with where I am as a player right now. And I could have never said that before, but I don't let it slow me down too much. But if you see me in traffic, I'm probably waving at you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm shaking my fist in anger, but my finger won't go down. So that's what's up with the weird finger. I'm sure, a lot of people ask me about it. I try not to play things like this and, put it up in people's faces, but I'm sure you probably noticed, and that's what happened. So, but anyway, until next time, guys. And by the way, thanks for all the comments and likes. I had no idea that I had such an audience, but I really appreciate you guys. If you keep tuning in, I'll keep showing you how to get great tones out of inexpensive gear and good demos on inexpensive products that are good. So stick around. It's going to be fun.